Okay, I'm back. I finally did the Whitney video. I'm not sure how well I did. And I'm still kind of sick, but I'm working on it. Taking a lot of zinc, vitamin C. I don't think that's it though. Okay. And I don't think it's like the normal flu. It's just. Mm. Oh, I'm obsessed. Totally obsessed with the secrets of the Playboy. It's a documentary. It's called Secrets of the Playboy. And it's good. I mean, it sucked me in for 2 episodes, which is the only two that they released so far. And I can't wait to see more. There's this, I have to read her book now, but there's a woman that grew up in the Playboy Mansion. I guess her father was really good friends with Hugh, and I don't know what she was doing there without her mom. Who knows? And she had an affair with, when she got older, when she was around, 17, I think. She had an affair with Hugh Hefner's girlfriend. I think her name was Crystal. I'm not sure. One of many hundreds, I'm thinking hundreds now, of girlfriends. Because we have to remember he started this in the 50s, wasn't it? He basically bought nude pictures of Marilyn Monroe. And she only got $50 for the shoot with somebody else. Had nothing to do with Playboy. It was just she needed some money. She hadn't made it yet. And so she did this some new modeling, which a lot of women do in the business. Been there, done that. I understand. So back then, $50 was a decent amount of money. So Hugh heard about this, and he was starting a magazine. This magazine, Playboy. I don't know if it was called Playboy at first or if they had bunnies, but I do know that he bought the pictures of Marilyn for $500. And honestly, in my opinion, that is the only reason why he was so successful. He put them on the first cover and it sold out. So it was like an overnight success. Not overnight, I wouldn't say. He worked on it. It's not like he didn't, put effort in. But I think he got a loan from his dad. I cannot remember the whole story, and I probably should before I come on here and talk. But I was doing more research on what happened at that Playboy mansion. Who has reported things. I know there was some suicides there. There was rape, druggings. I mean, there's bad things that had happened there. Okay, but so back to how he started the magazine. He started the magazine using Marilyn without her consent, even though she signed away those pictures. And I think I talked about this in my last episode. You really don't know what the hell you're signing, and you should. So if you're thinking about doing something like this, make sure you read the small print, because yeah, you think everything's fine. You're like, what can they do? Especially back then, probably for her. She's like, I don't know if she knew that she was going to be famous. And so I think she realized that the pictures might come out eventually. She had to, somewhere in the back of her mind, think that. But then again, she was a contract player at a studio. And little by little, at first when she started, she wasn't like boom, like, she didn't stand out a lot. But she played these really cool little parts, and she was a pretty blonde. She wasn't the bombshell yet. And little by little, she created this persona that was Marilyn, not Norma Jean. And so, yeah, if you look at the pictures, the progression is astonishing. She had to, that's what she was thinking. She's like, if I want to stand out in this business, I'm going to have to really do it up, do this character. It was like the blonde bombshell, and she did it really well, and that wasn't really who she was. She liked to read a lot. She was very intelligent. She was funny. And she was very sexy. She liked sex. She liked being sexy. She didn't mind modeling nude. Totally get it. She felt comfortable in her own skin. And Hugh said, okay, I'm going to put her on the cover and I'm going to make a lot of money. And he was right. And so she did, acknowledge that, okay, I knew this was coming. And so what? The way she handled it was so great that the story kind of came and went because she didn't really feed the monster that is the judgmental people out there that are like, oh, what a horror. She's nude. She's like, I was young. She didn't deny it, in other words, and I love that about her. She owned her shit even back then. And that's a big deal. The time period that she was coming up. Okay, so Hugh became famous because he started this magazine, even though other people had already done similar things. He started this magazine with her on the cover. And all of these women that ended up wanting to be playmates or in Playgirl, they thought that Marilyn agreed to be in the magazine and that he had a photographer that photographed her. And that's all bullshit. I remember one of the girls, this was like years ago. I didn't watch the show, but I remember seeing her going, well, you know how you kind of come across it on occasion, the girls next door. She was like, oh, well, Marilyn did it. She was in Playboy. So I just thought, what's the big deal, And I'm thinking, no, it's not how it went down. She didn't agree to be in Playboy. She modeled nude for somebody else, thinking nobody would see the pictures. Probably in the back of her head, though, going, possibly, maybe. Because I thought that when I was in the business, I thought, okay, I don't want to be famous. That would suck. I see the way it's affecting my friends. I really wouldn't enjoy that. But what if I do get this role of a lifetime that just changes everything? Those pictures are going to come out. And so I kind of mentally prepared myself, and I planned to say the same thing that Marilyn did. Like, yeah, I did it. So, I was 18. I needed the money. I'm proud of my body. I'm not ashamed. I mean, I definitely thought it out. And then I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be famous. I'm out of here. I just got the hell out of there. Okay, so I've been watching the show, and the little girl, she was a little girl when she grew up in the Playboy Mansion, and it kind of reminded me of Dolly Parton, who looked up to the prostitutes in her town, and she wanted to be just like them. There's like a quote, I mean, there's something she said where she's like, I always thought they were so beautiful. And they always had their hair done and their makeup, and they were just glamorous and fabulous. And I grew up wanting to be just like them. And I love that. Because she didn't look at them as like dirt and trash. She thought, they have the big hair and they have, makeup on and they always look good. Yeah, I love Dolly Parton as it is. And so for her to say that, it's like, wow. But I think that's definitely relevant in this as well. I think that these women want to be fabulous. They want to, this little girl that, she's not a little girl anymore, but the little girl that her dad was like BFS with you and they lived at the house, she lived there as a little girl. So she got to watch everything. And she had said that she looked up to all of these girls, which is, I would too. And I did when I was young. I was like, God, imagine if, you're in Playboy. These beautiful women, they're perfect. And, I always felt just not attractive. I thought, I'm not going to be like that. Even when I auditioned and I went in, they took snapshots. Polaroids. They took Polaroids. It was so in back then to take Polaroids. I just remember sitting in the little waiting room, and it's smaller than you would think. It really is. The little waiting room is very small, and then you go into this. There's like a receptionist desk right over here, and there's a view of, pretty sure it's Hollywood Boulevard or Sunset. It's so, I don't even know if it's even still there. And then you go to behind the secretary's desk, and there's a room not a room. It's more like a studio, where they take pictures. But you're only allowed to go into the front part. And if you look beyond the person that's taking the Polaroids, you'll see that that's where they take the pictures. Not all of them, I'm sure. But it was just kind of exciting. I was like, oh my God, what if I do get in this magazine? I could say I was in Playboy. And like I said, I kept going over it in my head, going, okay, my brother-in-law is going to be jerking off to this. That would not be good. I can't even go over and hang out with my sister. What about on holidays? And then when I use the bathroom, what am I going to find myself there? Because he had a stack of Playboys in the bathroom, and just thinking about me in there in the college edition, I just thought, oh hell no, mm-mm. So, but just to be able to go there was really exciting. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. So I get why women were so drawn to that. What I don't get, I do kind of. Okay, Hugh himself. I've always thought he was kind of sleazy. I just did. Just the robes and, the way he had girls hanging all over him. And it's one thing to have a magazine and to be a businessman and to possibly date some of the girls. Just have a girlfriend that you've met because she's in the magazine. I get that. But he dated all of them, and he made the girls compete against each other and turned them against each other. But also, I feel like you had to suck a stick or fuck him to get in the magazine. I'm pretty sure. And Holly Madison, I read her book and I loved it because she was spilling the tea, and it was so brave of her to do that because he was still alive at the time. She wrote her book in 2015, and he didn't die until 2017. Was it 2000? Yeah, 2017. He was like 91. And so when she was dating him, he was in his 80s already. And I remember thinking of him as just like bones, just, a skeleton. I thought, oh God, he's a walking skeleton. And he's got all these young, all look-alike blondes. Yeah, they all had the same boobs, the same bodies, the same fake tan, the same, hair extensions, the same everything. Holly was the only one that kind of stood out a little bit because she wasn't like, she wasn't like a bimbo, I didn't think, at least. I didn't look at her that way when she first was hanging out, and I remember seeing pictures of all of them together. And then I resaw the pictures again tonight when I was watching the show, and I was like, oh yeah, see, she was different. She was a pretty girl, but she was more cute. She wasn't like slutty. And she had these big, beautiful eyes, and she had cut her hair at one point, so she wasn't like everyone else. I think that's what she said. She wanted to cut her hair so she's not just like every other girl that's there, because they really did all look alike. He liked to go out in a limo and have just like, who knows how many, whoever could fit in the limo. How many blondes can you fit in a limo? And all the girls had to kind of live up to those standards, and so they would get boob jobs, nose jobs, hair extensions. They would do all of that, and spray tans, whatever. And so she eventually got her nose done, and I think she got hair extensions and fake eyelashes, but no big deal. I think it was just her nose and her boobs that she had done. But she was, growing up, she just looked up to these girls, just like Dolly Parton did to the prostitutes in her neighborhood. I'm not calling them prostitutes, not at all. I think we're all prostitutes in life. I really do. I just don't like that name. I don't like the name hooker. I've never been in that business as far as selling my body for sex, but in a way we all have. People think webcamming is prostitution. No, it's not actually. You can't touch the woman. You cannot touch her. You could jerk off to her, and that's a sexual act. And so we all sell ourselves. Whether you're married to someone that you don't love and you're having sex with him to make him happy, so you could keep the house, the car, all of that. That's prostitution. Holly was like, I don't think I'm a prostitute. I don't like to be compared to that. I understand what she's saying, but at the same time, she was getting $4,000 a month to live at the mansion, and that was the allowance that he gave. Ugh, gonna get comfortable. That's the allowance that he gave the women, and he had to, she had to sleep with him. I think each girl had their own night. I mean, maybe not their own. Maybe he liked to have all the women together, and so when Holly first decided, she's like, I want to live here. I want to be his number one, and I don't know why that was her dream. I don't know. All I know is that she went out with all the girls and him, of course. He took them all out. That's what he liked to do after his divorce. It was like 7 of them, 8, 10, 20. I don't know. I have no idea. They just were all blonde with big boobs. And I think that was the first night she got invited back to the mansion. Before that, she had gone to parties and she just felt the vibe, and she thought it was innocent. She thought, oh, it was kind of like, idealistic and innocent, the girls, and she didn't know all the shit that went down there. And so she goes back to the house, and she's expected to be the first person to sleep with you. They all go to the room, and the lights are dimmed, and they're on the circle bed that his famous circle bed, and he's in the middle of it, and it's kind of all the girls are surrounding him. It is kind of cult-like. I get that. She referenced a cult, and I said, yeah, I could see that. And I guess he was obsessed with Charles Manson. That was his, I think he idolized him, which is so weird. He just couldn't understand how Charles had all these girls doing whatever the fuck he wanted, and he wanted to have that. And so he wasn't a nice man, when I think about him, and I think about... I'll talk about that later. Okay, so she said that she had to kind of go first. There's not enough money that you could pay me to do that. Oh, hell no. Have you seen him walk in it? I felt like he was just kind of The Walking Dead. Or like Weekend at Bernie's or something. He never seemed agile and really there, and he was so skinny, and he walked, like an old man. He was an old man. I just thought he needed Viagra to get it up, so he would take a Viagra, and he had them just everywhere, and rubbers. But then she had said that he wouldn't use a rubber with her or any of the girls that night, and she found that really gross. I'm like, that's what you found gross? Yeah, but what about all the juices with all of you all mingling together on this old man's cock? What about that? It's gross. It's so gross to me. Even when he was younger, if I see pictures of him, I'm thinking he's so sleazy. He's somebody I would never have been attracted to. Not that I would not his type, but you know what I mean? Okay, so it was fascinating to watch this. And then of course, there's the token friends of his that are defending him and saying, well, Holly seemed to really like him, and I don't know why she wrote that book. It was all lies and blah, blah, blah. And speaking of the book, she was brave to write this, and mostly because others had tried to write about it. One of the playmates, I think she dated him too. All of the girls had to do something with him. I'm sure not all, but if you're going to be a playmate, I think you had to fuck him. You had to. There's no fucking way around it. That's what I'm thinking. Because every girl first off, Holly never even got to be in the magazine until The Girls Next Door, that show. And then she had to be in the magazine with the other girls. I'm not sure if she made it to playmate. But at that point, she was just the blonde girl with the big tits and big eyes hanging around Hugh and living at the house and being his number one girlfriend at one point. And then he turned her against the other girls and the girls against her, and they hated her. So she had to go have sex with him with the other girls, and they hated her. So that was really awkward. So yeah, just, he's gross. He's just gross. And he used all of these women just like Manson did, except in a very, very different way. Nobody got killed, thankfully. Wait, there were some suicides there. Who knows if they were pushed to it? I know there was rapes there. Um, I've never been to Playboy Mansion, and I never wanted to, but I remember getting invited a few times back in the day, and it was after Hugh had just gotten divorced, and it was like the place to be. And I just thought, I don't, that's gross. Like, it just, for some reason, it just grossed me out. And it was the old men hanging out with the young girls, even though most of them were of age. I think there was some underage, obviously. You know, that happens. People sneak in. But just girls in their 20s hanging around 80-year-old men, you know, it was always gross to me. I never thought it was cool. Um, you know, you see movies, you know, back in the day, like Star 80, I saw. Can't remember where I saw it. I think it was on like Max or something like that, or HBO. And you know, they were making it seem like she was living the dream. She's like, oh, she's, you know, glamorous and fabulous, and she's a playmate. And I thought, God, she's so beautiful, and what a great, you know, when I was first watching it, I was young. I was just like, you know, I think I was preteen when I can't even remember when I saw that movie first. But I remember thinking, like, she's so beautiful and so glamorous, and that would be awesome. That'd be amazing to be her. But then as I watched the movie more, it wasn't just her fiance, or I think she married him, her husband, you know, who ended up killing her. Don't mean to give away the ending if you haven't seen it. Dorothy Stratton, you know, everyone knows about that story. But it was when she went to the mansion, and she was presented kind of to all of these old men. You know, it wasn't cute young guys. She was in her 20s. She was in her early 20s, I think, when she died. I'm pretty sure. I just thought some of them are famous. There were producers, directors, actors that kind of has been actors. Nobody that I would even want to associate with other than for business. So all of the women had to be in these little bunny outfits or in their pajamas or whatever, bikinis. And just these old men hanging around, you know, and it always creeped me out, even at a young age. I thought, oh God, this. But every woman secretively wants to be a playboy. You know, they wanted to be, no, not a bunny. And so I thought, okay, when I got the opportunity, I knew the makeup artist. I thought, yeah, that would be kind of cool, you know. But after watching this, but also after reading that book, it made me realize how utterly repulsive it is, and how anti-woman he actually is, even though he claims like, oh, I love women, I adore women, I'm giving them this opportunity to be free and to express themselves with their sexuality, and you know, just like women's rights. And this could not be further from that at all. I mean, he exploited women to the max. Like, the most you could exploit them, he exploited them. Not only was he fucking them, but he was letting his friends fuck them. Not even letting his friends, just like, it was just a given. And that little girl that grew up in that, she's not a little girl anymore, I have to remind myself. She wrote a book too, but she said it was like the mafia. First she wrote her, he's like, congratulations on the book. And she wrote only nice things about him because she was afraid. And at that time, she still had a good view of him. She still was like, well, he's still kind of like a father to me, even though he was trying to have a threesome with me when he was a father figure. He was trying to have a threesome with her and his girlfriend, which is so gross, you know. And she was 17, she was underage. And thankfully, the girlfriend didn't want to do it. You know, she's like, I'm out of here. But the fact that he was all ready for it was like, tells you everything you need to know about him. So she wrote this book, and there must have been some unflattering comments or what have you, because she had um, she had a tour going for the book, and he had made sure that every single one of her tour dates got canceled, and she couldn't believe it. One after the other, they were canceling. What a prick. And so then someone else that dated him and tried to write a book got threatened and said, yeah, that book's not coming out, or something to that effect. It just, there was at least 3 or 4 people that had tried to write a book and couldn't do it because he would not allow it. You know, he wanted that, the phony version of him, the fake fantasy world version of Hugh, which is only a fantasy for men, really, if you think about it. Like this, okay, he is how I picture the devil to be on earth. You know, if the devil was, I think, I don't know if he's real. When I think of Trump and people like that, I think, oh, he's real. Manson, When I think of like the devil himself, though, I don't think he would be outwardly like Trump is, outwardly just evil, where you could see the evil. I think he would be Hugh. He'd be surrounded around beautiful women, glutinous, just eating, fucking whatever, drink, doing everything he could. That's a sin. Every sinful thing you could think of, he would do, and he would do it to extreme, like with women. He would have not just one woman, he would have 20 all around him at the same time, taking turns on him. He would be charming. Um, he would live in a big house with a pool, and he would act, it would be, okay, what is that movie called? With Jack Nicholson, The Witches of Eastwood. Yeah, he was the devil, and he makes things fun. He brings the women together, and, they play tennis, and, they just, yeah, the devil comes to town. So he kind of reminded me of that kind of lifestyle. And to men, it's like the ultimate fantasy. Like, oh my God, this guy is so freaking lucky. He just gets to be surrounded around beautiful women all the time, every day, all day. And they adore him, and they will do anything for him, and blah, blah, blah. And it's true. It never got old for him to be around those blonde women. I was going to call them bimbos, but I shouldn't call them that. I don't think they're bimbos. I think that they were misguided, I think, in life. They didn't know what they wanted to do. Everyone dreams of Playboy, girls, boys and girls, men and women. I think you look at it and go, oh wow, imagine being in that magazine and getting to hang around that scene. And I was the type that kind of looked at the older men and went, okay, yeah, that doesn't seem fun at all. And you get looked down upon regardless if it's Playboy or not. You still get looked upon as kind of the slut that took her clothes off. It didn't matter what magazine you were in. Nowadays, it doesn't matter. And I don't even think Playboy is still around. I don't know. I know the family's not associated with Playboy anymore, which is weird. I wonder how they make their money. But out of all the magazines, there were certain ones that were classier than others. And women wanted to be the centerfold, and they would do anything. They would get the boob job. They would dye their hair. They would, like I thought about that back in the day. I said, I wonder if I just, got a boob job and went blonde. And there's a time I did go blonde. Not for that reason, though. It was just because I felt like going blonde for the first time in my life. I thought, oh, I didn't experiment in high school at all, or junior high. And I've always wanted to try blonde. And my aunt's a blonde, and my cousins are blonde. The other side of my family are all like white blonde hair and blue eyes, and it's just so strange because my dad and my aunt were twins, and they're both gone now. But she was a blonde hair, blue eyed, and he was, a darker hair and hazel eyes like I am. So yeah, there was some English or Irish genes in there. There was some DNA that turned that. But I wanted to be blonde. I thought, okay, I'm going to try this and see how it works out. It was a long process. but I never thought of getting a boob job. And it was because I didn't want to mess with my body, just like I don't have tattoos. I don't think it's bad to do that. I like tattoos on a man sometimes, and there's women that were flat chested and having boobs, getting the boob job completely changed their whole personality and outlook on life. And they really started to love themselves and what have you. They were insecure. And so, yeah, I believe that, plastic surgery helps people sometimes. And I just personally did not want to do it. And we used to go to these parties up in Hollywood Hills, and I think I talked about this. And there was this the surgeon there, plastic surgeon, and he said it at least 3 different times where he said I should get a nose job. And he goes, God, just imagine just a little bit taken off right there, and blah blah blah. Oh, and then he talked about my boobs. Your boobs are beautiful. You have beautiful. I'm like, you're checking out my. He's a plastic surgeon. He's like, but I think they could even be bigger. You can make them big. And he was just trying to like work on me while I was trying to just have fun at a party by the pool, having a few drinks. I was like, get out of my face. And so that business will do that to you, but especially at the Playboy Mansion. If you want to be a Playboy, you got to do all of that. And then I saw this one girl. I think it was in the oh God, what was it called? The House Bunny. That movie. I think it was called The House Bunny. And there was this one girl. I think her name's Lauren. And she didn't have any boobs, and she was a brunette. And I thought, how the I was like, how is she a Playboy model? That's so weird. She's completely flat chested. She has no butt either. She's got no butt, no tits. She looks more like a fashion model, except I don't think she's tall enough. I think she's like 5'7", and I think you have to at least be, well, some people, there's a few that are 5'7", especially nowadays. But back in the day, it was like, but she's beautiful, so beautiful. And she's married to an actor now, but I just thought, how the fuck did she get in that magazine? She has no body. Like, she's not womanly, you know what I mean? She looks like she could be walking the runway. That's what kind of model she is. But no, she was in there. So I'm thinking on occasion, and I don't think she fucked you. Like, there's no part of me that's like, oh, she fucked him for sure. I think to be in maybe a centerfold, you might have to, but I think she might have been in like the college edition, or who knows what she was in. But I just remember watching the movie going, that couldn't have happened. There's no way. She's brunette too, on top of that. Yes, there's a lot of brunettes in that magazine too, but they had to have like really big boobs, nice ass, I don't know. When I think of Playboy, I think of bleached blonde hair and fake boobs. That's what I always thought of. And I always knew, I was like, I'm so out of my league here. When I was sitting in that waiting room, I was like, there's no way they're going to even acknowledge my existence. And that's kind of what happened, but not really. I did get the call back, but my roommate didn't give me the message, Ronnie. And I remember just being glad that I didn't really inquire more about what the phone call was about, because Mandy told me, I was sitting right there, and she goes, he said Playboy, and she's the one that told me that they called. I said, what did he say? She goes, he hung up on them. And I said, why didn't you tell me sooner? I could have called them back. She goes, you don't want to be in Playboy. She goes, you told me you didn't want me. I go, yeah, it's true. I go, if I call back, then I'm going to have to do the college edition. And that would be very awkward in my family. And they're not even religious or anything. It's just a weird thing. And besides that, I don't want anyone to see it. That's what I kept thinking. I thought, oh my God, nobody has to know that I'm in this. And I don't know why I felt that way. I was 18. I was still very young. So in my view, I thought, oh no. So I did this other magazine and everyone freaking saw it. And so then I was like, fuck, why didn't I just do that? All right. So I did become a blonde eventually, not for that reason. I did bikini modeling and what have you, and that was great. Never even thought about Playboy again. Um, it just was never something I was going to do, and I don't think. But after hearing all of this, I'm like, that's. I understand the desire. I understand the women that do this, that want to go for this. Holly, I understand her point of view. And it was so brave of her to write that book. It really was. And I don't even think she spilled all the tea yet. I really don't. I think she spilled some of it, but not to the degree she probably wanted to. And it was probably because he was still alive. And I would love for her to add on to that, do a little revision. Okay, let me go here because I found something. Basically, somebody, his new wife had found the stash and basically saying Holly was right about revenge porn. I think Perez Hilton talks about it. Let me look up Perez Hilton. I can't believe he's allowed to use that name. Perez Hilton. Okay, so he, let me find the story. He posted a story and it said something like, most of the time he just posts things about different celebrities and his kids. Britney's brother, Angela Juliana. Okay, I can't find it. But basically the woman that he married, who's, God, he could have been her great-great-grandfather. And that was the last person he was with. I think her name's Crystal. I could be wrong. Of course, beautiful, young. She married him for money. I mean, sorry, girl, sorry. There's no way that you fell madly in love with him and you married him. There's just no freaking way. But yeah, she said that Holly was right about him having, well, he kind of admitted to that. He said he had cameras everywhere, all over the mansion. And so he had videos of all of the girls. And, he liked to take videos of them when they were drunk. And he had videos of them having sex and, whatever. And so she said she was afraid to leave for that reason. One of the reasons, one of the many reasons. Another reason was that she was so used to that life, and she was so indoctrinated in or what have you that she just couldn't leave. And she also, I'm sure, wanted to be a centerfold. And especially after the show started, there was really no way to leave at that point. But finally, when they canceled the show, she moved on, and so did everyone else. And then he replaced them with new people. But yeah, so if you haven't watched the show, I can't believe I've been going on for that long. If you haven't watched it, you should absolutely watch it. He talks a lot about just so many different people. I'm not a big fan of Perez, but we became friendly for a few during the whole CF period. If you know what the people that watch this know what I'm talking about. He was kind of fascinated by the whole thing. Okay. All right, so as the series goes on, I'll probably talk about it, but there is stories about people that have been raped, drugged and raped. He tried to give Holly, a Quaalude, the first time they all went out together. And she's like, I don't do drugs. He's like, neither do I, but sometimes I'm thinking, bullshit, you do drugs. It's whatever, who cares? Not her. I mean, I knew she doesn't seem like the type that does drugs. But that's what Bill Cosby used to use on the women that he raped. Quaaludes. And I heard a lot of stories. Oh, I was talking about a friend of mine. Okay. This is what I do. This friend of mine used to go there all the time, and she was obsessed, and she wanted to be a playmate. That's what it's called. I called them Playboys, playmate. And she invited me a few times. I'm like, I'm good, girl. She used to say, she's like, I saw Corey there, I saw so and I'm like, that's why I'm not going, because that's the kind of people that hangs out there. To me, it was always just super sleazy, and I thought, I'm not even sticking a toe in that pool. You know, even with all the chemicals in there, it's not going to kill all those diseases. Oh my god. Okay, so um, she got drugged there, and she kind of blacked out, and she doesn't know what happened. She doesn't know if she got raped, but she says that she woke up at her friend's house who had brought her home, and that she didn't remember what happened. And that's kind of scary. She said, you know, some older man that used to be a producer in the 70s, he was like a big producer in the 70s, and now he just retired, or I don't know. And she said she drank something, and that was it. She doesn't remember anything else. That happened a lot there, from what I understand. But also, I really want to delve into the suicides. What the fuck? Who killed themselves there? All right, so I'm going to get into this. This is my new obsession. There's only 2 episodes right now, but they're going to have, from what I understand, they're going to have about 10 episodes. And yeah, I'm really excited, actually. Okay, let me look. I know that I put something down. Someone said, "Don't mourn for Hugh Hefner. The media has painted the Playboy founder," and this was written in 2017. So this is, yeah, the book had already been out. She had her book out in 2015. On Wednesday night, U.S. Times, Hugh Hefner died in his sleep. When news broke on Thursday morning, social media was full of tributes to the man who built the Playboy empire. It was one of those rare moments on Twitter where both conservatives and progressives could find some middle ground in mourning him. I wasn't one of those people. I wasn't like, oh, glad he's dead. I wasn't like that either. I just was like, whatever. Like, who cares? Yeah, it was the 50s. So he has done some good things. He supported gay rights in the 50s, but doesn't compare to all the bad. Oh my god. Oh, and Kim Kardashian. Yeah, do you remember when she had come out and said that, well, Marilyn Monroe did it? So I think that's the one I was talking about. Who I was talking about. And she doesn't realize that she didn't go, oh, I want to be in Playboy. Like, it wasn't like that at all. So, all these people, you know, Kim is one of them that was celebrating, you know, oh, his life and he was amazing or whatever. Over the years, there's been rafts of allegations of sexual assault from Playboy models such as Dorothy Stratton. I didn't know that she accused anyone of sexual assault. And porn stars directed at Hefner. I didn't know. See, that's something new. I'm just finding that out. I know that she got murdered by her husband after she got into Playboy, and she started seeing. She broke up with him, her husband. She wanted a divorce, and she was seeing this much older producer director because he got her in a movie. And yeah, if you want to, yeah, whatever. One of the most well-known accounts was given by Linda Lovelace. Ooh. Lovelace, I think she's the one that Deep Throat. I think she's the one that used to come when she gave head. In her autobiography, Ordeal, I have to read that now, published in 1980, Lovelace said she was pimped out to Hefner by her abusive partner, Chuck Traynor, alleging Hefner sodomized her and attempted to make her have sex with a dog? What? Okay, this is much worse than I thought. Much worse. Wow, there's some bestiality there too, and I'm so disgusted. In 1985, 2 former playmates, Miki Garcia and Brenda McKillop, testified to the Meese Commission on Pornography on a number of disturbing themes that accorded in the Playboy Mansion, including women who were pressured into taking illegal drugs and engaging in orgies with Hefner and his associates. Wow. They were subject to abuse. Garcia was told by models about rape, mental and physical abuse, attempted murder, drug addiction, attempted suicide, and prostitution. Uh, it says, the Playboy attitude is, you are now a playmate. Don't be so stuffy. It's all right to do this. It's LA chic. She falls prey to this. Okay, it goes on, and I'm going to talk about this. This is in 2017 that this was written. And I'm so glad they have a series now, and they're kind of getting it all out. And I think they should compile it all into one book, which I would absolutely read on Kindle. But yeah, it's all the tea is being spilt. And if he was still alive during the Me Too movement, someone on the show said, yeah, he would have been definitely just everyone would have come out against him. And I'm sad that that didn't happen, because I think of all of the other men that were accused, and the woman that came out, and how horrible these men are. It's pretty fucked up. But I think about him, and he's kind of the worst of them all. He's like, I don't know. He sodomized and tried to make her have sex with a dog. I mean, what a piece of shit. All right, so I'm tired. This is what puts me to sleep at night. This getting all of this out. I'm going on 46 minutes. I did the Whitney video, but it's not that great, so I'm sorry. I will do a better one eventually once I get my laptop. I have no laptop. I do all of this on my phone, and it's a bitch, but I do love it. So I'll keep everyone updated. I'm gonna get into this more. Really quick. It says Quaaludes were also the drugs that Hefner's friend Bill Cosby used to allegedly drug and rape multitudes of women in a recent case. Model Chloe Goins claimed that Cosby raped her in the Playboy mansion in 2008 and alleged that Hefner conspired with his friend in her assault. I think I mentioned that in my last video, that somebody actually got raped in the Playboy mansion, and this isn't the only time, by Bill Cosby. And that I guess she went up to him after she had gotten raped. She was kind of sobering up or what have you. I think she passed out in one of the rooms after Bill Cosby raped her. And she went up to Hugh and said, oh, he raped me or what have you. And he just kind of blew it off. And he's like, well, don't tell anyone. Just keep your mouth shut or something like that. But yeah, Holly Madison. She was required to have unprotected group sex with Hefner twice a week. Not exactly the fun sleepover Girls Next Door portrayed on TV. When I think about that, I'm so grossed out. Because some of the girls were actual prostitutes, and that's okay. No problem. If you're in the Playboy mansion, you're not getting as much as you thought you were going to get. I think he $4,000 a month, which is a lot of money to me even now. Even now, I'm like, oh, that's a lot of money, but that's not enough money for what they had to put up with. It's no bueno. They had a curfew at 9. They couldn't go out. They couldn't have boyfriends. They couldn't have their friends over, really, I guess on occasion. And when they did go out, they had to be with him, always. And they had to have group sex with him, like she said, like twice a week. So, and they weren't in the magazine. You know what I mean? They thought, we're going to be in the magazine. We're going to be in Playboy. And no. That's not how it went down. I think some of them were eventually, but I think on the most part. So some of the women had side things going on. And so I think as prostitutes, they could get more clients if the clients knew that they were Hugh Hefner's girls living in the mansion, at the Playboy mansion. They could charge more, I think. And so they were trying to recruit other people in the house to do this. And they thought that Holly had ratted them out, because I think Hugh found out and said, get the fuck out of my house. And she didn't, though. I don't think she did. I just don't really think... she's not my type of girl per se. You know what I mean? I'm not into girls, not like that. But as far as friends, I can't see us like hanging out. She's not my type of friend and what have you. But I like her and I think she's honest. I don't think she would lie about that. And I know that she did kind of fall for Hugh for a while. She admitted that. She admits things. That's what I like about her. You know, like Kim Kardashian and her sisters deny they've ever had any plastic surgery when we could see they've had plastic surgery. It's right in front of our eyes. We're not stupid. But Holly is like, yeah, I've had surgery. So it's, yeah, I had my boobs, I had my nose. I think she's had other things I can't remember, but she admits it. She owns her shit. She owns pretty much everything. And so I cannot hate on someone like that. I respect her. I think she's brave. And so yeah, she's whatever. All right, everyone. It's late. It's like, God, it's so late. I don't even, I can't even see. 3:40. It's 3:40 in the morning. I will talk about this more because this is something I'm fascinated by. Peace out.